Hello my friends, how are you? I hope you're doing well. It's Wanyiha Jindut again, and today we are making sides. I have two kind of sides. I have a bag of broccoli, well, 3/4 bag of broccoli, and I have some green beans. And today we are going to use a different method in cooking our sides, and this is the blanching method. I have a pot of boiling water and I'm just going to dunk in my green beans, and after I'm going to add them into a pot with ice. And I don't have a lot of ice, but I just want to show you, how to do that. And the reason why we do the vegetables like that is because we want to cook the vegetables to get them tender, but we also don't want them to discolor. So we won't be boiling for a long time. 2 minutes is enough to get them tender, and then stop the cooking process using ice in water, and then that should help us get to the color we need. And then later we can saute our beans in a pan. So I'm going to dunk all of them. And what helps me with this pot is that it has a mesh. So I'm going to time 2 minutes and then I'll remove them. The water was already boiling and I didn't even season it. I'm going to season this once I start cooking, because they're going to be both in the boiling water and the ice cold water. So I know I took it so fast today. It's because my water was already boiling and my ice is very likely to melt before we finish this process. So yeah, the plan is to just immediately dunk them in the cold icy water so that we stop the cooking process. The ice is almost all the way melted because I've added the water. You see, we just have a few crystals, but yeah, our beans are getting nice and softer. This also maintains a good texture with the beans. They are somewhat crunchy, only somewhat, because they can't get all the way crunchy, but the color is very nice. It's been 2 minutes, almost 2 minutes, maybe just 5 more seconds. And I was hoping that my mesh would fit in here. I don't think it will. But yeah, they look nice and still very, very green. Cannot fit. So what I'm going to do is just pour them into the bowl. And this is good because I can still use the mesh to sieve them out. We are going to sieve. And you can imagine this is a very good method in a restaurant, because if you want, like, this much can serve about 10 people. So you can have them ready like this and just saute as you need. So we're going to have our stainless steel pan going, and we're going to let it get so hot that when we throw in some water, it's just going to slide over. And then we are going to saute. And this is the best part, because we are going to add some dry onions for flavor. This already tastes as if they are fried. So we're going to add those. And some walnuts. Sliced almonds are the best for this, but this is what I have. I always say, cook using what you have. Don't dash out to the shops because you don't have one ingredient. If you have another, it's good enough. So we're going to check if our pan is ready. Yeah, and that is good. Going in with some olive oil. That was a mistake. Should have let all the water melt away. And I'm just coming in with a handful of those green beans. And this is the point where I salt. So I'm going to season with some salt, maybe a little more. Some salt, some garlic, a little garlic, a little onion. We need the heat all the way lower. We're just flavoring our beans really. And I'm going to add the nuts. And as I do this, I'm also going to add some butter. And this and nice and lovely, also nice and hot. So we're going to serve. And as you can see, these are so nice. Our butter is actually still melting. And we can still add more butter if you feel like this is not enough. Yeah, that was a rush, but I did not mind it. Did you? Let's taste. So delicious, all the flavors. I'm going to get some nuts. These are amazing for a potluck, or if you're having just a dinner buffet style with your friends, just having them on the table. And whoever likes this kind of food will get that, will actually be delighted to get that. Okay, so here's our green beans. Very, very delicious. And next is our broccoli. Hey friends, and our water is going on. It's getting nice and hot, so we are going to blanch our broccoli again for 2 minutes. Yeah, and once it's ready, we are going to dunk it into our pot of cold water and do the same thing. So our broccoli is done, and it's an amazing, beautiful green color. So we are going to do the same thing and come back to saute. And we could use the same things we used in the green beans, but for variety, I'm going to use some garlic that's crushed together with some coriander, and that will give us some green, some herb. And we're going to use some oil as well as butter. Just a little bit of oil and butter. And I usually just blend my garlic and coriander and keep it as such, but it's also okay to use just crushed garlic or sliced garlic. It would actually be a good idea to fry up some sliced garlic and just cooking it. So we're not keeping it there for long because it would burn. but it's going to melt together with our broccoli, and the smell is just wonderful. So this will smell and taste garlicky, even though we won't be able to see the garlic butter and the wonderful aromatic that is garlic. It is still melting. And if you don't feel like any of the fat is enough, you can add and that's the result, guys. Do you see that color? And you can always cook them a little longer to get rid of the juice, but it's just so delicious. You can always pick from the pan and just leave the juice on, but that is good to me. Vibrant, delicious, and just tender enough, you know. And so the next thing we're going to do is cook our zucchini. So zucchini usually has a high water content, and so I'm not going to be boiling it. I'll just add it into my pan, and it's going to start getting dried up. And I'm going to add my seasoning before I add oil or butter. You can use either, as well as all the fats that I mentioned, just to make your vegetables more tasty. Remember, you can also steam or grill this over a griddle or even an open fire. Grilled vegetables are just so delicious. So I'm going to add salt. It will help during the dehydration process, and a little bit of pepper. Remember, we are not adding any water into this. Just want to dry them. Do you see how shiny it gets as it cooks? As it releases the moisture? This is a good way of starting the cooking process. And it gets softer, and then it colors a bit, gets a bit brown. And you know what? At this point, they're ready. I actually will not add any fat at this point. Can you see the color they're getting? Especially because I cut them with a crinkle cutter, and so they have these grooves that get the color fast. So these are so nice. So you can continue cooking. You can serve this also on a high fat, low carb diet, because they're very low in carbs, just like many other vegetables. So these are nice and fun. Look at this. So amazing. Yeah, and they're done. They're done. They continue to lose the water content as they sit on the heat, and that is good. So these carrots, I just cooked this in a little water until they were nice and soft. And what I'm going to do now is add butter. I boiled them with a little salt, so I'm going to just add a pinch or two of pepper. And they're just going to cook in that butter and get nice and flavored. I'm going to add some parsley. Parsley, especially dry parsley, is one of the best herbs I use to garnish. We're going to taste this, and they're just nice and tender, not too done. And you can keep them there long enough to start sort of caramelizing if you want to. I don't know if this can be seen in the camera. It's just beginning to caramelize. And the best thing about these ones is that there is no danger of overcooking because we already boiled them in some water. They're done. We're just sauteing them. So you can add whatever else you want. If it's garlic, or I'm actually going to add a bit of garlic powder just for more flavor. And if you love citrus, you can add some lemon zest in this. There's just endless options of things you can do. So there's our carrots. And so here's our green beans, our broccoli with some compound butter, our carrots also with some compound butter, and our zucchini nice and hot, and I just added some butter because we are on a on a high fat diet. So yes, that's what we did today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.